Hey, today I'm talking about 3 modern Dragon Ball Z / Super films. And the names of those 3 movies are Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, and Broly. First up is Battle of Gods. This is a 2013 film and a direct response to the awfulness that was Dragon Ball Evolution, and it's kind of amazing. So the basic premise is this takes place prior to the epilogue of Dragon Ball Z, which this is a quick background. The epilogue of Dragon Ball Z takes place 10 years after they defeated Buu, Majin Buu, and it's Bulma's birthday. So the whole gang is back together again, and it's really fun. But unbeknownst to them, Beerus, the god of destruction, has woken early from his slumber because he's heard there's been a prophecy of a Super Saiyan god that will be his rival thing. So he tries to figure out who this Super Saiyan god is. And he eventually finds Goku. They fight a bit, and then Goku learns what the Super Saiyan god is, and then he maybe does it, and now these enemies have become friends. So technically, it does what all Dragon Ball stories are. They're enemies first, they fight a bit, Goku powers up, maybe he wins, and then they become friends or someone's dead. But this movie does a really good job with a lot of stuff. It feels very, very cinematic, which I liked a lot, especially compared to the other Dragon Ball movies. The music was great. It felt grandiose. Beerus he was ridiculous. He really loves food. He's just silly and sleepy. But as silly as he was always terrifying. Like, he made threats constantly to destroy stuff, and those felt like legitimate threats. Like, you cross him slightly too much, and you and everything you've ever known are just erased from existence. That's how serious he is. And like with that too, it helped add to the humor because Vegeta, who's, normally such a stoic and serious character, he does some goofy things as a distraction. And like, they're very goofy and ridiculous, but it works in context of the story. Like, normally I'd be annoyed by that, but because it works in context of the story, I'm not annoyed. Yeah, I don't know. This movie is just a lot of freaking fun. I would highly recommend it if you were a fan of Dragon Ball back in the day. It's a great fun nostalgia trip. The only part that was kind of weird was when Emperor Pilaf showed up and he was really small, because he's more of a character from Dragon Ball, and it's really random that he's small, but I knew about that, so I wasn't that lost. Oh, I forgot. I have seen this before, but I forgot most of the stuff about it. And I do know who Beerus is because I've been reading Super. But yeah, I think even if you're going in having not watched Dragon Ball in like 20 years, you're totally fine to just go into this and have a fun nostalgia fest. Like, it's meant to be a reintroduction to Dragon Ball, and it does its job wonderfully. It's really great. I loved it a lot. Highly recommend. Next up is Resurrection F. This is a 2015 film and I think direct sequel to the last one. It takes place like a year later, and I'm kind of mixed on how I feel about the premise. So the premise is that some of Frieza's army is still loyal to him, so they find the Dragon Balls and resurrect him. He's the Resurrection F. And then he spends 6 months training, and then that 6 months puts him on par with Goku and Vegeta in their god modes. Okay, so bringing Frieza back is very much so nostalgia baiting, and that's annoying and frustrating because they did such a good job with bringing Beerus into existence that to just go back to that is a little annoying. But it does make sense for him to come back because, like, it would make sense that he would still have loyal followers who want to bring him back to life. So I can understand it. And I can look past that aspect of the movie. Where this movie kind of hits a wall for me is in the rubber banding. That Frieza gets way too strong way too quickly. I forget exactly how much time has passed, but basically they're telling us that with just 6 months of training, Frieza is able to equal in strength to Goku and Vegeta, who have spent, I don't know, let's just say 15 years training since their last battle. No, I don't believe that for a second. That's really dumb. I hate that. What I think they should have done is have Gohan beat him. Have Goku and Vegeta be distracted by Beerus, which they are are for like half the movie. It would have made sense because like Gohan was definitely stronger than Frieza when he was at his peak. When he's at his peak with Cell, he was up here and then he stopped training, so he's coming down a bit. And then Frieza, you know, let's just say he's here with his 6 months of training, boop, it puts him on the same level as non-training Gohan. And like he even says in the movie, like, oh, I don't even know if I can turn into a Super Saiyan. And that just would have been a really great struggle the entire time. And just like treat it more like a boxing movie where it's just like them kind of more or less equals trading blows back and forth. And then you could still have Frieza go into gold form, and maybe you can even have Gohan tap into a level that he hasn't gotten to before. So just like inner strength type of stuff. That would have been a lot more fun and a lot more satisfying. It would have made a lot more sense. I do like parts of this movie though. Like I did really like the section where the gang face 1,000 warriors of Frieza's. That was a lot of fun. It was nice to get to see, you know, the non-Goku and Vegeta characters fighting and doing well for a change. And Barris and Whis were a lot of fun. I like that Bulma gets to do stuff too. That's always nice. So even though I do complain about Goku and Vegeta having to save the day every single time, I would still recommend this one. If you really enjoyed the first one, I would say keep going with this one. It's still fun and good. It's a quite liked. It's a lower quite liked for me. It's basically a 4 out of 5. So it's still pretty good. I just wish they would have gone in a little bit different direction. If you were kind of more mixed on Battle of the Gods, you're probably not going to be really blown away by this one. But if you did really like the first one, keep going. This one's pretty good. And lastly is Broly. This is a 2018 film, and it's basically a reimagining of a lot of Dragon Ball lore. If you're unfamiliar, in the original continuity, Broly was born on the same day as Goku, was much, much stronger than Goku at birth, and that's why he was banished. But then also, he has a deep hatred for Goku because on the day they were born, Goku was crying a lot, and that crying scared Broly, and that's the whole reason for everything. But here, they changed everything and made it amazing. So story-wise, this is the best one yet. Like, this is incredible. It is such a really incredible story. I love it a lot. I love the changes they made. I love how much time they spent in the past. Like, it was at least 20 minutes. Like, it was the entire first act. They spent dealing with Broly as a baby and then as a young child, and then spending time with Bardock, Goku's father, and we get to see Goku's mother as well for the first time. And honestly, I wish we would have gotten even more time in the past because it was just so well done and so interesting and just, it worked really well. And even like the plot in the modern times, that was really good. Like the motivations for everyone actually make sense. Like why Broly has to fight Vegeta and why Frieza's back again. I will quickly add though that like a lot of stuff happened between the second movie and this third movie because I forget how far the anime got into the story, but I think this potentially takes place after the anime is done. It's after the Tournament of Universes. So like a lot has happened. And like I was like, oh shoot, I kind of forgot some of the stuff. But thankfully they do a good job of like summarizing the important bits. So even if you haven't watched any of the anime or read the manga, they more or less tell you everything you need to know. There's some power level stuff that I forgot that they don't really clarify, but it's fine. My big issue with this one though, where this movie really stumbles, is the animation style, in particular during the very bloated fight scene. It did not look good. It was a very non-Dragon Ball style. It's more cartoony, like loosey-goosey, and at times it looked very cheap. There were a lot of segments of that fight that were basically just like bright colors flashing at the screen. Like you couldn't tell what was going on. It's just like, ooh, it's blue, it's red, it's purple, it's green, it's blue, it's purple. Like, what is this? Stop. Like, just give me an actual fight. Stop giving me a kaleidoscope. I don't need a kaleidoscope in my fight scene for 10 minutes. I mean, it's cool for like a minute, but then it's not. And just, yeah, no, the fight scene went on for forever and it didn't look good. It just kept bringing the movie down. I do more or less like how they ended the fight. I think that made sense. It tied in plot-wise really well. The epilogue was a little awkward and needed a little ironing out, but that's here nor there. So yeah, this movie's interesting. It was pretty good. It's a quite liked that's up pretty high, but that fight scene took it down so much because it just went on for forever and didn't look good. I would still recommend it though. Like, if you enjoyed the last two films, continue on with this. You might want to read the manga or watch the anime before getting into this one, just because, again, a lot of plot has happened between the two. But you can dive into this without having done either. It is fine. Yeah. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Dragon Ball Z: Battle of Gods, sitting at number 57 in the really like section. And then after that is Dragon Ball Super: Broly, sitting at number 103 in the quite like section. And then bringing up the rear is Dragon Ball Z: Resurrection F, sitting at number 135, also in the quite like section. And this is out of a total of 258 old movies so far this year.